Somalia and other conflict zones. Somalia, located on the eastern coast of Africa, has been in a state of political chaos and civil war since 1991. Following the overthrow of President Siad Barre, the country descended into anarchy as various armed groups began fighting for power. This led to the destruction of state institutions and the economy, forcing many residents to flee their homes. Amid this turmoil, terrorist groups such as al-Shabaab emerged, carrying out attacks on civilians and military targets, paralyzing life in the country. Fighting among various armed factions, constant threats of kidnapping, and high risks for travelers make Somalia an extremely dangerous place. Locals face shortages of food, medical services, and basic security, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Over 2.6 million people are internally displaced, and the situation in the country calls for international attention and assistance. The harsh living conditions caused by conflicts have resulted in many residents suffering from psychological trauma and depression, increasing the need for psychosocial support. In light of these circumstances, various organizations, including the UN, are actively working to provide humanitarian aid and support to the local population. But the effectiveness of these efforts is often limited due to ongoing conflicts and instability. Afghanistan, with its rich history and cultural heritage, has become a battleground for armed conflicts in recent decades. The return of the Taliban to power in 2021 has led to a new wave of violence and instability. The country faces constant terrorist attacks, bombings, and assaults on civilians and government representatives. The situation is exacerbated by humanitarian issues such as poverty, lack of medical care, and educational opportunities. Approximately 18 million people in Afghanistan need humanitarian assistance. Under such conditions, staying in Afghanistan is extremely risky for both locals and foreign nationals. The country faces issues related to women's rights, who continue to be oppressed and deprived of basic freedoms. In response to these challenges, many NGOs and international agencies are trying to provide assistance, but due to the complex political situation and restrictions on movement, this proves to be a daunting task. There is also a deterioration in the education situation, especially for girls, which may have long-term consequences for future generations. North Korea. North Korea, one of the most closed societies in the world, is governed by a totalitarian regime with strict restrictions on freedom of movement and expression. Citizens live under constant state surveillance, and any attempts to escape or dissent are harshly punished. The threat of military conflict with South Korea and the United States creates an atmosphere of perpetual fear. For tourists, this country represents a dangerous place due to the possibility of detention and arbitrary arrest. Many researchers and human rights advocates emphasize that the human rights situation in North Korea remains critical. Food shortages and economic difficulties are also issues faced by the population. Such conditions make North Korea one of the most dangerous countries to live in and travel to. Serious human rights violations, including forced labor and restrictions on freedom of religion, are also observed within the country, raising concerns in the international community. Many people attempt to flee North Korea, risking their lives on the path to freedom, and their stories often testify to the appalling conditions in which they live. Central African Republic. The Central African Republic, CR, is going through tough times, suffering from armed conflicts and internal strife. Since the overthrow of President Francois Bozize in 2013, the situation in the country has remained unstable, with many areas under the control of various armed groups. Constant clashes lead to a humanitarian crisis, with millions of people becoming refugees. Security in the KR leaves much to be desired, and travelers are strongly advised against visiting the country as they may fall victim to violence or kidnappings. Over 2.5 million people need assistance, and numerous organizations are working to improve the situation, but stability remains uncertain. International peacekeeping missions are attempting to stabilize the situation, but due to the complex field conditions and active resistance from local groups, this proves to be extremely challenging. Efforts to restore peace and security in the KR face numerous obstacles, including deep social and ethnic divisions that require a comprehensive approach to conflict resolution. Yemen. Yemen, located on the Arabian Peninsula, has become a victim of one of the most serious humanitarian catastrophes in the world in recent years. The civil war that erupted in 2015 led to the destruction of infrastructure, food shortages, and a lack of medical assistance. Millions of people are suffering from hunger and disease while armed conflicts continue. It is estimated that about 80% of the population needs humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, international efforts to resolve the conflict face difficulties, and a peaceful agreement remains elusive. Traveling to Yemen poses a significant risk, as the situation can change instantaneously, and security in the country is extremely unstable. Humanitarian organizations are trying to provide support, but due to blockades and ongoing hostilities, access to assistance remains limited. The situation is further aggravated by high mortality rates among children and women, requiring international attention and urgent action to prevent further casualties. Haiti. Haiti, one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere, faces numerous challenges, including political instability and natural disasters. Earthquakes, hurricanes, and other calamities damage infrastructure and the economy. High crime rates and violence, particularly in the capital Port-au-Prince, create additional risks for the lives of locals and tourists. In conditions of poverty and lack of effective law enforcement, Haiti remains a dangerous place to live. The country faces a shortage of accessible medical care, and many residents suffer from chronic illnesses and malnutrition. Despite efforts by international organizations, assistance often proves insufficient, and the situation requires a comprehensive approach to addressing social and economic problems. Local initiatives and disaster recovery projects become crucial for the country's future, but without a stable government and peace, these efforts face significant challenges. Mexico, certain regions. Although Mexico is a popular destination for tourists, some regions of the country, such as Sinaloa and Guerrero, suffer from violence caused by criminal cartels and drug trafficking. These states are known for their high crime and violence rates, leading to recommendations for travelers to avoid these areas. The influence of drug cartels on local life and the economy creates an atmosphere of fear and instability. However, many other regions of Mexico remain safe and welcoming for tourists, highlighting the importance of awareness of local conditions. Governors and local authorities are actively working to improve security, but combating organized crime remains a complex task. The current situation also affects the country's economy as tourist flows to dangerous regions significantly decrease, which in turn hampers the development of local communities. Libya. Libya, after the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, has plunged into chaos and political instability. The country is divided among various armed groups fighting for control over territory and resources. Constant clashes and violence make Libya an extremely dangerous place to live. Traveling within the country carries high risks, as foreigners may become targets for attacks or kidnappings. Economic problems and shortages of basic services, such as water and electricity, also exacerbate the situation. The international community continues to call for a peaceful resolution to the conflict, but in practice, this faces serious difficulties due to deep internal contradictions. Libyans continue to suffer from the consequences of military actions, and many dream of stability and peace, which seem unattainable under the current circumstances. Dead Sea. The Dead Sea, located on the border between Israel and Jordan, attracts tourists with its unique properties. However, the extremely high salt concentration makes swimming in its waters potentially dangerous. Without caution, one can suffer burns and skin irritation. Despite its healing properties, staying in this region requires care and an understanding of potential health risks. The Dead Sea also faces environmental problems, such as decreasing water levels, which may affect its future, appeal to tourists. Local authorities and environmental organizations are working on projects to preserve the unique ecosystem, but the situation requires constant monitoring and attention. It is also important to note that climate change and human activity have a significant impact on the region's ecosystem, necessitating comprehensive solutions to prevent further environmental disasters. Mount St. Helens, USA. Mount St. Helens in Washington state is known for its powerful eruption in 1980, which changed the landscape of the region. Although the volcano is currently considered dormant, it still poses a potential threat. Seismic activity and the possibility of new eruptions make it a dangerous site for researchers and tourists. Caution is necessary, and it is important to closely monitor warnings about potential activity. Scientific research on the volcano helps to better understand its behavior and minimize risks to the population. The volcano also serves as a study subject for geologists and volcanologists, contributing to the advancement of science and improving safety. However, it is important to remember that nature is unpredictable, and even if a volcano is deemed inactive, the situation can change rapidly. Karakoram and Himalayan mountains. The Karakoram and Himalayan mountain ranges attract climbers from around the world with their beauty and complexity. However, these areas are considered some of the most dangerous for climbing. High avalanches, extreme weather conditions, and difficult routes create numerous risks for climbers. Without adequate preparation and experience, travelers may face serious dangers, including frostbite and injuries. Local guides and experienced climbers emphasize the importance of proper preparation and choosing safe routes. Environmental protection and conservation efforts in these unique areas are also underway. Maintaining the ecosystem and local flora and fauna becomes an important task for everyone who visits these beautiful places. Fisheries area in Antarctica. Antarctica, with its harsh conditions, represents a unique ecosystem. Areas where active fishing is conducted, such as the fisheries area, can be dangerous due to extreme temperatures, turbulent waters, and lack of oxygen. This location requires special training and equipment for survival. Traveling to such areas without proper preparation can lead to serious consequences. Environmental protection in Antarctica is also becoming an important issue, as climate change affects the living conditions of animals and the ecosystem as a whole. International agreements on environmental protection play a crucial role in preserving this unique continent, and more scientists are paying attention to the need for a comprehensive approach to nature conservation. Amazon rainforest. The Amazon, known for its rich biodiversity, also harbors numerous dangers. Wildlife and the risk of contracting tropical diseases such as malaria and dengue pose serious threats to travelers' health. Poisonous snakes, spiders, and other dangerous animals can threaten lives. The challenging conditions and difficulties in navigating the jungle increase risks, and thorough preparation and knowledge of the area are necessary for a successful journey. Forest conservation projects and support for local communities also become important for preserving this unique region. Efforts to protect the Amazon ecosystem require active participation from both local residents and the international community to preserve this rich heritage for future generations. Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is the deepest point in the world's oceans, located at a depth of over 10 kilometers. This location poses enormous dangers due to high pressures, low temperatures, and lack of oxygen. Research in this area requires special equipment and preparation, and even a small mistake can have catastrophic consequences. The Mariana Trench remains one of the least explored and most mysterious parts of our world, and scientists continue to study its unique ecosystems. These studies can help in understanding the processes occurring in deep-sea ecosystems and their impact on global climate change. The challenges associated with exploring this area highlight the need for a deeper understanding of oceanic ecosystems and their role in supporting life on Earth. Son Doong Cave, Vietnam. Son Doong Cave, located in Vietnam, is one of the largest caves in the world and attracts attention for its size and beauty. However, it also poses serious dangers for unprepared travelers. Challenging conditions, high humidity, and limited rescue options make staying in the cave potentially deadly for inexperienced explorers. Expertise, skills, and proper gear are essential for safe travel. Expeditions through the cave require thorough preparation to minimize risks and ensure safety. Local authorities are also working on developing tourism, which can help in conserving natural resources and supporting the ecosystem. However, it is important to remember that any interference with fragile nature can have consequences, and it is necessary to maintain a balance between tourism development and environmental protection.